This is TLV1.
TLV1 radio.
Great mixture.
I like Tel Aviv.
This is still V1.
This is
Tel Aviv is a beautiful city.
Great city, great radio.
TLV1.
This is TLV1.
From the TLV1 studios in Tel Aviv, Israel, it's Luyckx Live! That's host, me, Ari Lewis. Good evening, everyone. Welcome aboard. This is Luyckx Live on TLV1. We've got a great show for you tonight. We'll be discussing the latest with Israel soccer. Maccabi Tel Aviv's disappointing loss earlier in the week, last week I should say. Perhaps Yoni Misha in 40 minutes. We'll find out about that. But on the line right now discussing the latest with Gal Mikel is Radio Mike. Radio Mike, welcome back to the program.
Thank you so much.
So let's get into this. We're trying to track down Gal Mikel in the latest. He was with the Mavericks only a few months ago. He gets cut. They actually pay the remaining approximately $2 million left on his contract, 1.7. He goes to the Pelicans. He gets cut there. What is the latest with the former Israeli MVP?
Well, right now he's just working out with his trainer, waiting for the phone to ring. It's really tough breaking it into the NBA. I mean, he would be really, a backup point guard. He has very good credentials at that. But, there's so many good point guards in the league. Every team, just about except for the New York Knicks, has a good point guard. Like Dallas has Rondo, and, and he was with the New Orleans Pelicans, so they had Drew Holiday, who's a very good defensive player, and he's been making progress in the way he's playing with less turnovers. So he's really waiting by the phone, just keeping in shape, hoping to get back into the NBA.
Now, I had Joe Robbins on a few weeks ago. I thought that Gal was going to eventually come back to Israel, Europe. Joe thought he'd stay in the NBA. I want to talk about the Israel option because it's my understanding that Ori Alon, who is the Jerusalem owner, Hapoel Jerusalem, he went all the way to New York and met with Gal Mikel. So what do you think about the chances, or do you think Gal should consider coming back to Israel and playing in his homeland?
I really think if a person can play in pro sports in New York, you can make it with a pro team, whether it's the NFL or NBA or Major League Baseball, you got to go with the best league in the world, and that is the NBA. He has played a lot with Omer Cassidy. But with Israel in the European matches, if any time you could really play, even as a substitute player, not get as many minutes as you want, I think you're better off playing in the NBA, the major leagues.
Yeah, I hear that point. Now, let's talk about if he is going to stay in the NBA. I know he's waiting for phone calls. He's working out. He's trying to keep his composure. Kind of like Dimitri Salita. I want you to talk about that comparison because Salita trained for a while. Then he was denied an opportunity. Thought he was going to fight on Showtime with Hector Camacho Jr. That didn't work out. So talk about the comparison because these are guys who are both working out, just waiting for another opportunity.
Well, I don't know. It was a little bit different because he had it all set, I'm pretty sure he had a contract or he certainly had a gentleman's agreement Dimitri Salita had. And then all of a sudden they pulled the rug out from him. They didn't even call him up properly. I think he found it out on the internet that he said, we scratched your boxing match and you're not going to be boxing. I mean, it's a completely different situation. Right now, there's so many good point guards in the NBA that it's hard for Mikel to make it into the pros again.
Now, again, we talked about didn't make it with the Mavericks, didn't make it with the Pelicans. Both teams had high compliments and high praise for Gal Mikel. So what team, if you're looking out there, as a general bias, I know you're a Knicks fan, but what team out there you think should try to go for Gal? They don't have such a depth at the point guard position and can use the former Israeli MVP.
Well, I think the Knicks can use all the help they can. I mean, yes, I'm somewhat of a Knicks fan, but I don't have too high hopes with them. But they're going to be. They need someone to make the situation better for them. Improve their shots and stuff like that. And Guy Mikel could really help them. Right now, even Melo is injured, so their season's pretty much done. But it's hard making it an NBA. There aren't that many teams. There aren't that many players, and it's a specialty. So he is one of the best in the world, but, you have 25 guys ahead of him, so it's hard to get a job.
We talked about this before. I mean, the top 450 players on planet Earth make the NBA. If you're 500 to 1,000, you're not good enough. You're still very, very good, but not good enough for the NBA. And last question about Gal Makkel. I know a few weeks ago we talked about potentially him going to the Lakers. The Lakers are in disarray. We know he worked out for Los Angeles. I want to know if you think that would be a good fit. The Lakers aren't going anywhere, but they do have Kobe Bryant. They do have a lot of exposure. A lot of people would be watching him. That might set him up for another team down the road. So talk about if you think he should try to go for the Lakers and the Lakers should try to go for him.
Well, any place that will take him, he should go to. The problem with New Orleans, the Pelicans, the team that he was on recently, is they say it was really a financial problem. They just couldn't afford him. He made $1.76 million with the Mavericks. I mean, that was guaranteed money. But even if they sign him for a short contract, it's still, $100,000, $200,000, and it's a lot of money. But I mean, the Lakers have a lot of money, the Knicks have a lot of money. God knows how much they wasted on other players. So what's another $200,000-$300,000 that they had to spend it on him?
There you go. That's a great way of saying it. All right, Radio Mike, you were my first guest on the last show I'm doing on TLV1, so I wanted to thank you for that, and I hope you appreciate the honor of being on this first segment.
Yes, so much. Thank you so much for having me, and good luck in all your endeavors.
Thank you so much. Be well, Radio Mike. We'll speak soon.
Bye.
All right, that was Radio Mike from Kew Garden Hills talking about potentially where Gal Makkel could go. He may try to hang out. He wants to play in the NBA. He's made it no question in comments with the press. The NBA is his first option, but if it doesn't work out, he obviously has an option in Europe and Israel. As I mentioned, the owner of Hapoel Jerusalem met with him personally, flew out to New York to talk to Gal. And if Gal went back to Hapoel, they would obviously be the favorites. Some say they're the favorites already. But if they had the former 2013 MVP, that would certainly put them at the tops. We're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we'll talk about Special Olympics in Israel with William Luyckx. This is Lewis Live on TLV1. All right, back here on Lewis Live on TLV1. Thank you, everyone, for joining. You can follow the station on Twitter at TLV1.fm. Now, a few years ago, folks, when I ran my company, Israel Sports Radio, I had some very special interns that were provided to me by J Internship and Israel by Design. Some of those special interns, Joel Moss, Max Tedford, Jonathan Vuchansky, and it was really an enriching experience to have special interns work for me. So I wanted to dedicate this segment to Special Olympics in Israel. On the line right now, a coach from the Special Olympics, back to the program, William Luyckx. William, how you doing out there?
I'm fine. It's not Special Olympics, it's Paralympics.
Paralympics, excuse me.
There's a difference, yes.
Yes, Paralympics. So tell us, you are a coach there, and you're working with the track team. I know there's some events coming up, so tell us about it.
That's right. We are working already for 1.5 years with blind athletes and also with handicapped athletes. And last Thursday, there was a big happening in the Shimon Peres Peace Center.
Wow.
There was a birthday from one of the runners. She is a very famous runner. She is treating all kind of celebs in Israel for what is called reflexology. And so she is a good friend of Shimon Peres. So she organized a peace run, a peace race in the Yafo Park near the Peace Center of Shimon Peres. And there came about 100 runners. Under the runners, there were also Palestinian runners from East Jerusalem, and of course Jewish runners, blind runners, handicapped runners from all over the country, and they were running all together 3K. And last Friday, it was an item on the TV, on the Channel 2, also about this woman. She's very special woman, and they made an item of about 15 minutes about her. And this Friday, we have the marathon of Tiberias, and 2 of our members are going to run over there. And one guy, he's handicapped. He has a CP, and that is the first time that he will run the marathon. And in his category of handicapped athletes, there may be 8 athletes all over the world they ever ran the marathon. So that's very special. And we have another blind runner. He is 55 years old. He is running there for the 3rd time the marathon. So that are the items for.
That's pretty impressive. Now, these athletes, they're physically differently abled. I want to know if there are any athletes you're working with that are mentally challenged that'll be participating.
Yes. We have, the mentally retarded athletes. They are on the Special Olympics, and the Paralympics they are handicapped. So we have also one guy. He is Special Olympics. He's training with us, and he will go this summer to the Olympic Games for Special Olympics in Los Angeles. He will run there the 400 and the 800 meters. So he's also training with our group. But, I have explained it already the last time. With the mental retarded, you have different kind of levels. So you're from the Down syndrome until light mental retarded athletes. So you have a lot of different categories. But this guy will run the 400 and the 800 meter in Los Angeles this summer. And we have the other one, that is Avi Salomon. He will participate in the World Championships of Blind Runners in Korea, in Seoul, in May. He will run there 15 and 5,000 meters as well.
Now, one thing I want to ask about you, when I had my mentally challenged interns, I was always amazed how much they were able to do, because sometimes people think that mentally challenged people can't accomplish so much. I want to know if you had that experience where you see a mentally challenged athlete and you're amazed at how much they're able to do, and it changes your whole perception of them.
Yeah, that's right. You have to understand, nowadays, especially the handicapped athletes are training like regular athletes. I'm from Holland. In Holland, they have 4 full-time trainers. That is their job, and they are training 24 athletes. So the best athletes, they get money like a regular athlete. That is their job.
Wow.
They get very good facilities, and it's like, not in Israel, of course, but in a lot of, let's say, Western countries, the Paralympic athletes, they get the facilities like Olympic regular athletes. They get a salary, they get the support, they get the treatments, they get good trainers, training camps abroad and everything. So, because it's a very high level, the level is growing and growing and growing from the Paralympics.
Now, tell us, for those who don't know or are curious about the daily schedule of your job, how many hours a day are you working with these special athletes, Paralympic athletes, and the times, and what type of practice are you doing to get them ready for these competitions and races?
Yes, that's right. I see them twice a week. That is on Mondays and on Thursdays. They are coming to the Hada Yosef National Athletic Stadium in Tel Aviv. So then we train them about 2 hours. And that's it. And I give the programs. And we, of course, also independent or dependent from the volunteers. They have to run with them in their spare time. So that's also a logistical problem. So I have not a full-time job, of course. It's only twice a week, and I have my own job. I'm a lecturer and I'm a trainer and so on. But that's, of course, a question of money.
Right.
A question of money.
Now,
they can train more.
Now, I got to tell you, I'm really amazed by the work, what you do. God bless you. It's an amazing thing. Anyone out there listening that wants to get involved, whether it's on a volunteer basis or a donation, where can they contact you? How can they go about doing that?
Okay, great. I will give you my mobile number. And if there are people who are willing to help us, donations or in another way, it will be great. My mobile is 050 435 6695, and my name is Willem Luyckx. So, of course, we appreciate it really if there are people able to help us.
All right. Thank you so much. Again, we really appreciate the time. We appreciate what you do. It's a big mitzvah, good deed for the country. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you very much.
Sure. And again, one more time, a quick shout out to Bashi Rosen from J Internship, Elizabeth Corlin from Israel by Design, Joel Moss, Max Tedford, and Jonathan Vachansky, my special interns from a few years ago. Appreciate all what you guys did and the experience that Bashi and Elizabeth gave me. I really treasure it. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this segment. We're going to take a break. On the other side, we'll talk about the latest with Israel soccer with Raphael Gellar. This is Luyckx Live on TLV1.
No pain. No pain.
All right, I just want to explain that. That's from Rocky 4. I want to give a shout out to Tomer Gershwin, who makes all my music. I sent him the Rocky 4 YouTube clip. I should have probably just sent the song. But yeah, that was Stallone grunting. He's running up the snow. He beats Drago. Hate to spoil the movie. Anyways, we're going to switch gears from Rocky 4 and boxing to soccer. On the line right now, BBC World News correspondent Raphael Gellar. Raphael, welcome back to the program.
How you doing, Ari?
Hey, doing great. Now, let's talk about Maccabi Haifa first. They have a new head coach. Their former coach, Stanojevic, he resigned, and they have a new coach. Before we talk about the new coach, I want to know why the previous coach left his job at Maccabi.
Well, basically, the team moved into a new stadium this year, 31,000 seater, one of the nicest stadiums ever built in Israel, if not the nicest stadium, and the team had a pretty high budget. They brought a couple good players from abroad, along with their Serbian manager from abroad. And to put it, in a nice way, they just got off to a very, very bad start. Basically, after getting embarrassed by Hapoel Jerusalem, it became very apparent that he was not the right man to lead the team. He actually offered to resign a couple times earlier in the season, and the owner of the team, Yankele Shachar, said no. We want to keep you, but after this, it became clear they needed new direction, and they decided to stick with an Israeli coach.
All right, let's talk about him because this gentleman is Avram Grant's former assistant. Bob, we'll talk about what you expect from him and how he's going to coach the team going forward.
Well, last year he had a very good season at Sachin, the team that we've talked about on your show a couple times. And he spent some time, as you said, with Avram Grant. He's known to be a pupil of Avram Grant. He also coached abroad with Grant in Partizan Belgrade. Interesting, the same team that Stanojevic, the manager that you were talking about, came from. So there's an interesting loop there. But he's a very different style manager. He's a very quiet guy. You'll see in the press interviews that he gives, he's very focused on the game. He doesn't ever really make excuses. He doesn't like to blame things on anything. He's just a quiet guy. And as I said, last year he had a very successful year with Bnei Sachin. He led them to the upper playoffs. He's a good manager. He's not necessarily, a sexy big name. There were some rumors that Ronnie Levy was going to come back and some other big names that have been at the helm of Haifa. But in the end, or maybe even Guy Luzon, who was at Standard Liège earlier this year, bigger names, but they decided to go with the quieter guy, the guy that wasn't in the media. No one saw the appointment coming. And, so far they haven't gotten off to the best start under the new manager.
And right now, Maccabi Haifa is fourth in the standings with 19 points at 15 matches. Raphael, let's talk about Maccabi Tel Aviv winning in the Toto Cup. Can you tell our listeners what exactly is the Toto Cup?
Well, it's kind of a preseason cup that goes into the season. It's kind of like we have obviously the State Cup, which is considered the honorable cup, the respectable cup. A comparison to it would be the FA Cup in England or the Coupe de France or Copa del Rey in Spain. It's the main cup. If you win it, you go to Europe. If you win it, it's a big prestige tournament. The Toto tournament is similar to the Capital One Cup in England. It's the second tier cup. A lot of teams sometimes don't play their best lineups. It's nice to win it. It's a trophy. You get to lift a trophy. But it's not the same as winning the FA Cup, the State Cup, the one where you get the cup by the president of Israel, and it's considered a big honor, and it's a hard thing to get, and teams are trying really hard to get it. And you have the competition from second and third tier leagues battling out. And the Toto Cup is just the first division team it's first division teams that are competing against each other. Interesting enough, Maccabi Haifa lost that match with their first manager, Marco Bubu. So, it's been a tough start for Maccabi Haifa. They were expecting to win that game. Maccabi Tel Aviv fielded their second team, really. Ran Zahavi didn't even play at all in the game, wasn't even on the bench. There are a lot of other players that could have played. So it's a nice trophy, but the Maccabi Tel Aviv didn't even field their best team for it, and they still won. And it just shows kind of the quality. Not to mention when you have a final for a tournament before January, then it's not that big of a deal, because everything usually that's big is towards the end of the season, or at least later in the season.
Now with Maccabi Haifa, as I mentioned, fourth in the standings. So now they have a new coach. Will they have a chance to somehow overtake Maccabi Tel Aviv, or are they too far out at this point?
That's the thing. You hear, anyone who's listening right now to the show, and they hear, oh, okay, they're in fourth place, it can't be that bad. Well, actually, they're wrong, because between fourth place and 14th place, there's only a difference in 8 points. A couple games, 2.5 games. If you win a couple games, you can go to fourth place. If you lose a couple games, you can go to 10th place. Fourth place is not a big deal. It sounds like a big deal, but that's just because the top three are so ahead. 10, 12, 13, 14 points ahead. We're talking about Kiryat Shmona, Hapoel Beersheva, and Maccabi Tel Aviv. And of course, tonight Maccabi Tel Aviv is playing against Hapoel Beersheva in what's being called the game of the year. But being in fourth place is a big deal. If you can do well in the FA Cup, the State Cup here, you can still qualify for Europe. It's also still possible to qualify for Europe if one of the teams in the top three wins the cup. So their journey to qualify for Europe is still alive, and technically their journey for the State Cup, the FA Cup, is also still alive. So they have that going. But winning the title is not going to happen. Coming in the top three is also very, very unlikely. So their best hope right now is to try and win the cup, or try and finish in fourth place, and hoping the fourth is enough for them to qualify for the qualification stages of the Europa League.
Again, we're speaking with BBC World News correspondent Raphael Gellar. The last few minutes we have left with you, let's talk about an update of the scandal we broke last week. It again includes a lot of people, a lot of big politicians, but some sports people, as well as Avner Kobel, who is involved with the Israel Basketball League. Do we have any extra information and any updates at this point?
To be honest, there hasn't been much that's come out on the sports front. It's still going to take a long time. There's been lots of interesting articles that have been written by basketball journalists about what this really means for the Basketball Association, but nothing groundbreaking, huge reports. The only thing I can maybe think of is there is an interesting article in One, the sports website One, that was talking about Shimon Mizrahi and the Maccabi Tel Aviv chairman, CEO, whatever you want to call him, role in this scandal. They said he wasn't a part of it, but the article was kind of hinting that he did know about it. Also, the article is very unclear. The bottom line is things are very unclear. Things like this, just as it took a year and a half to uncover, it's going to take a long time for everything else to kind of, first of all, be taken off gag order. Second of all, people start to come forward. People start to, put other people under the bus, if you want to use that term. So we're still at the very, very, beginning stages of the investigation, but I think we'll find out a lot more. And I think we're seeing, forget about the sports part, we're seeing about every day how deep it is in other sects of Israeli society, and how important it is that they figure everything out, and that they do it before the elections start, or before the elections are, that is, in March, in the middle of March.
It's incredible. And we talked about this last week, how it affects so many elements of Israeli society, so many political parties, so many financial sectors, and, of course, the sports world. So they called it one of the biggest scandals in Israel's history, and we'll try to keep an eye on it in the future. Raphael, thank you for your time tonight here on Lewis Live. We always appreciate it. And be well. We'll speak with you soon.
Thank you, Ari. Have a very good show, and we'll speak soon.
All right, thanks so much. Raphael Gellar, BBC World News correspondent here on Lewis Live. Quick break. On the other side, we'll talk about the latest with Maccabi Tel Aviv of basketball with the sports rabbi, Josh Halickman. This is Lewis Live on TLV1.
Shine bright like a diamond. Beautiful like diamonds in the
All right, back here on Lewis Live on TLV1. If you want to get in touch with me through email, that's longliveLewisLive@gmail.com. We're going to now discuss the world of Israeli basketball. On the line right now, it's the sports rabbi, Josh Halickman. Josh, how you doing out there?
What's going on there, Ari?
It's going great. Now, Maccabi Tel Aviv struggled their first round of the EuroLeague 16 opener. They dropped that in Athens. I want to first talk about Devin Smith because he was out. He was injured. I want to know if you think he could have played, because it sounds like had he been in, that would have been the difference, and they maybe rested him a bit. So talk about the status of Devin Smith.
Devin Smith is a huge cog in the Maccabi Tel Aviv machine. He was out for that game. If he plays, they probably win. They had been winning through three quarters. They were leading, and they fell apart in the fourth quarter. They got some terrific games from some of the other players, which is fantastic, especially Nate Linhart, who was ticketed to be out of here. He scores 18 points. So on one hand, Nate Linhart plays Devin Smith's position, and they did get 18 points out of that spot. However, Devin Smith is just such a professional player and such a good player that it was really too bad that he couldn't play. And I'll tell you this, Ari, Devin Smith is a player that will play hurt. Right. He probably really could not play. And he is a guy that will put all on the line. Without him last year, they would have never made it as far as they did, obviously winning the EuroLeague championship. And this year, especially in the EuroLeague competition, when they went 7-3 in the first 10 games, he is one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, that the record was so good.
Smith, of course, had an ankle sprain. He didn't play. You talked about Linhart, had a great game. And I want to know also the Randall, Tyus, they had some good games as well. Talk about their contributions. Did they look at themselves and say, we have to step up with Devin Smith being out of the lineup?
That's definitely part of it. Alex Tyus also is starting to look like the player we remember from last year. He's starting to shake and bake and swish and dish, and he's cooking with Jeremy Pargo now. It seems that they're reading each other better. He's getting those alley-oop passes. He's getting the ball near the rim. He's playing to his strengths, and that's exactly what they're going to need, especially in this next round of the EuroLeague competition. Brian Randall, some games he's not going to give you so many points, but he gives you the intangibles. He gives you rebounds. He gives you good defense. He forces shooters to change their shots. He is a very important player. And it should be noted that Maccabi Tel Aviv also just brought in Joe Alexander from the D-League, and he's only played 3 minutes so far. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to play throughout and what their plans are going to be for him. He also may be a big factor. Jake Cohen, we're going to have to see where his minutes will line out with the addition of Joe Alexander. It should be a real interesting run here, Ari, the next few weeks. I'm very curious to see how the team's going to play. They have a big game coming up against Partizan
Red Star Belgrade.
Yeah, Partizan Belgrade, the Red Star Belgrade. It's not Partizan, but Red Star Belgrade. They play them Thursday night. And, of course, there's going to be miserable weather here in Israel. They say lots of snow and rain. So we're going to see. Hopefully that game will go off and be played Thursday night, but we'll have to see. That's a team that Maccabi Tel Aviv should beat, especially at home. I want to see Joe Alexander play. I'm looking forward to it, and we'll see how they take these games. But it was a game that they should have won against Panathinaikos. That was a real downer because they really had that game in the bag, and in the fourth quarter they just fell apart.
Now this Thursday night, the game will be in Nokia, be at home. That game, you said Maccabi should win. I want to know if it's a must-win. If they lose that game, will we see panic again, as we always see when Maccabi loses a couple? They ask for the coach's head. Will Guy Goodes somehow be in trouble if they drop the game on Thursday?
No, at this point he will not be in trouble whatsoever. I think his position is pretty much safe. There should be no issues the rest of the way right now. Even if they really have a miserable go in this next round, they don't make it into the quarterfinals, he will not be let go in the middle of the season. Will something happen after the season? That remains to be seen. But I think right now, even if they lose, his position is safe.
All right, and Joe Alexander, we talked about him briefly last week, and for those who don't know, he's number 8 overall draft pick, I believe back in 2008. What are your expectations? I know he's been banged up and he played in the D-League, but if he can be 70% of his potential, how much of a difference will that make for Maccabi Tel Aviv?
He gives you some good scoring. He can help spread the floor. He has long arms, which are good. He's a decent defensive player. He can show offense. He had a game right before he was signed by Maccabi where I believe he scored 28 points or 35 points. The guy can score. There's no question. Why he didn't make it in the NBA, there's so many players that make it and so many players just don't. Even the high draft picks, it's never a guarantee. You never know where these guys are going to land up, how they're going to play. Maybe his game is just better suited for Europe. That could be it. Maybe we're going to find that out. He definitely came in with a good attitude, a positive attitude, and he knows that he's coming into a team that has a winning religion, and that's important. And he knows he's not coming to some small little European team, but coming to the defending EuroLeague champions, and that's important. So he understands what his standing and his position will be with the team, that he is coming to a champion. He is coming to a team that's going to give, and they always give their foreign players the best. And you will hear any foreign player tell you that Maccabi Tel Aviv is the best team. They take care of them like they're absolute gold. And Josh Alexander, I'm sure, is going to look forward to that. And I think it's a great opportunity for him, and we'll have to see how he produces. But I'm hoping, you never know, maybe this guy finds a spot here in Israel, and he's with Maccabi for the next 8 years. You just never know. Look at Anthony Parker. Who knew? Who knew that he was going to be such a star? He developed so well here in Israel, and then he went back and had an admirable NBA career and finished off in the NBA playing for the Raptors and the Cavaliers. I think that's all you can ask for. And, of course, Anthony Parker was a bit older than Joe Alexander at the time, but probably not very much. But he really resurrected himself and was able to go to the NBA and be a positive player, just like Allen Anderson, who is a player in the NBA these days. He came to Israel. He was only with Maccabi for a year, but still, Allen Anderson paid his dues in Europe, and then went back to the NBA. We'll have to see what happens with Joe Alexander.
All right, Sports Rabbi, last question for you. The game on Thursday, Enokia against Red Star Belgrade. Give us your prediction. You're usually spot on with these predictions, so I want to hear from you. What's going to happen on Thursday?
I think Maccabi Tel Aviv is going to win by about 25 points. I think that this is one of the weakest teams in the group. Maccabi Tel Aviv, with or without Devin Smith, in general, they're starting to gel. Marquise Haynes had a terrific league game with scoring 27 points. So did Jeremy Pargo. He also scored 27 points against Hapoel Jerusalem. They only won that game by 2, and they were losing going to the fourth quarter. But nevertheless, they did a great job. They did a great job, and they're starting. These guys that they brought in at the beginning of the year are starting to produce. That's going to be the key, and I think even with or without Devin Smith, they're going to really win this game going away.
All right, Sports Rabbi, thanks for your time. Everyone out there listening, if they want to find out more about you and your shows, where should they go to?
Check me out on Twitter at the Sports Rabbi, and that's probably the best place, the easiest place to get to me. Shoot me an email as well, thesportsrabbi@yahoo.com. And remember, folks, Ari Lewis is number 1 in the land, and I wish him the best in all his future endeavors, and he is by far, hands down, the number 1 sports host in this country.
Sports Rabbi, thank you so much for the kind words. Appreciate it as always, and thank you for your time today. We will be in touch, and enjoy the game on Thursday. I know I will as well.
All right, Ari, take care.
Thank you so much. Be well. All right, that was the Sports Rabbi, Josh Halickman, breaking down what's going to happen with Maccabi Tel Aviv. He likes them to win by 25 points on Thursday. We'll take a break. I don't know what's going to happen on the other side. Will Yoni Misha pick up his phone, or will he not? Stay tuned and find out. It's live radio, folks. This is Luyckx Live on TLV1. All right, back here on Luyckx Live on TLV1, and we appreciate everyone joining us on this program. On the line right now, the head coach of the American Tackle Football League, the national team of Israel, Coach Yoni Misha. Coach, welcome back to the program.
Hey, Ari, what's up, man? It's a long time. How's everything going?
Everything's going great.
On your show.
Well, thank you very much. Now, I understand. I want to be very careful with these questions because I don't want your lawyer to call me or I don't want you to be upset. So if there's a problem with the question I asked, let me know. We'll move on, all right?
What lawyer is going to call you? I don't understand the question.
No, I just want to make sure a lawyer's not going to call me. I don't want to get sued, obviously.
Why would a lawyer want to call you? This is a sports
show
interview where we're talking about the creation, pushing forward of football in Israel for over 20 years.
Yes. Now, you're the national team coach. You used to coach the Lions for 4 years, and the last game you coached them, your team lost 80-28. I want to know if that's is that your responsibility or the player's responsibility?
Oh, it's no matter what, I have to take responsibility for that. That was horrible.
Right.
That was horrible. I mean, I can make a lot of excuses, but that's not going to solve the problem. We lost, and it's not a big deal. These things happen. We made it to the finals. There were 10 other teams that didn't make it to the finals, and we definitely shouldn't have made it to the finals because we were missing so many players and so many new players. But the guys played really well, and I think they deserved to be there. And it was a great semifinal. But we lost 3 key players before the game. One was our defensive player of the year, which and I know today only because now I'm the national team, so I get to talk to everyone more.
Right.
That kind of helped out, but there's no excuses. It was horrible. We screwed up, and
yeah,
it is what it is.
Well, I mean, just that kind of sounds like an excuse that you had the players injured. That's what I'm saying.
Like I said before, and I can make up all the excuses. I answered your question. I continue. I'm not going with excuses. I'm giving you a fact. The facts are we lost. The facts are we made it to the championship. We're very proud of what we did.
Right.
But right now I'm concentrated on trying to get the best players that the Israeli Football League has to commit to doing a two-year league.
Right.
It's a very long tenure. It's going to be very difficult, and we're trying to get the guys in.
Yeah. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because with the loss, the 80-28 loss, your record in the postseason is 2 wins, 4 losses, no championships. And with all due respect, I think perhaps there was a better guy to be the head coach of the national team. I want to get your thoughts if you're the right guy for the job.
I know you don't think I'm the right guy. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But
right.
If you look, the records are irrelevant for many reasons. Number one is if there's someone better out there, I will step down. I've already said that. Right now, building the team is not really about. We should be getting an American coach, or even a German coach, someone that's done this at this level. But right now, since I don't think you've ever led men either in the army or in work or in business or in any matter, you have to understand it's not only about knowing the X's and O's. It's more about leading men and being a figure that people are going to look up and want to follow, especially when you're trying to build something from scratch.
Right.
But most people, including yourself, that have never done any of that, really don't understand.
There's a shot towards
me. Don't know
me.
what that means. So one second. No, I'm explaining. You
go ahead, please. Yeah, go ahead.
If we're going records, I mean, I have the most winning record in the league.
Except for the postseason. Except for the postseason. Yeah.
You're right, and I don't remember the name, but you're good at names and records. But if you remember, there's a couple coaches, maybe the Dallas Cowboy coaches in the old days when I was younger. I mean, it took them 10 years. What was his name? Landry, I think. It took him like 10 years to win a championship.
So you're Tom Landry. You're Tom Landry.
I wish. If I only knew a quarter of what he knew, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. No, but I think like a guy like John Sharon, he helped us in the first one. I mean, we can look at John Sharon. Who's definitely a guy that I wish would be around still.
Yeah.
On many levels. If we look at the fiasco that happened against Marinette, he was coaching the defense and we got ripped by 22 guys, something like 60-0 or 60-6.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to come down on John Sharon about that.
You kind of just did, but okay. Fair enough.
No, God forbid. I did it all. If I did, I would say it. I think on the opposite.
It was kind of a mind thing, but let's talk about your assistant.
No, not at all. Because
you don't have to scream. You don't have to scream, Yoni. Relax.
I'm not screaming. I'm in the car, and I apologize.
I understand.
But what I'm saying is, look, this is a really, really new situation for all of us. And
sure.
I think that they'll understand that even baseball has gone to places. The football hasn't been able to go hasn't been able to go yet.
Yeah.
And
But
what we need to
here's
do
the
is
deal.
just know where we are.
I understand.
It's not about-
I appreciate this filibuster, but the thing is, the right guy for the coaching job, there's a couple, but the guy that's better than you is Barya Schechter. Barya played college football. Barya beat you twice in the postseason. He won the title as a player and really as a coach.
That could be.
Yeah.
That could very well be. And if Barya wants to be the head coach, then he one day will be one. And I'm right again, like I said, right now we're building something, and I don't think Barya has a problem because I just this last week sat with him, and everyone's very, very happy. So
yeah.
What's funny is you're not involved in this, or people are.
No, I'm not. But Salah Freeman is not returning my messages, Yoni. You're right. I'm not involved.
I'm Yoni Misha, and I'm on your. I'm very happy and honored that you had me on your show.
Okay.
But I really don't think. Again, you're going to places where we shouldn't be going. We should be talking about the development of football in Israel. And
okay.
Barya Schechter really cares if he's the national team coach.
I don't know about that because Barya Schechter asked me to write a letter of recommendation, which I did so, and I said, look, this is a guy that beat Yoni Misha twice in the postseason. Really, he was the coach of the Rebels, not Bitsal, because we know Bitsal's not the brightest mark in the box. Barya is a great recruiter.
You're getting personal, Ari, but you're getting personal again, and you're ruining everything that's being done so nicely.
I'm not. I would say.
We have a great group of coaches.
Yeah.
You know what, Ari? Let's do this, man.
Yeah.
Because I know you really care about the sport, and you really are interested in what's going on. We're going to be meeting on January 15th.
Yeah, I'll write this down.
For our mini camp. Why don't you come down without the microphone? Because it's not important, the microphone. Just you as Ari.
Yeah.
Because you know a lot of football and you really just care about the sport.
Right.
Why don't you come down to our mini camp and just see, and I'll let you in on in the coaches' meeting. Why don't you see how things work and see how nice everyone's getting along, Rebels, Big Blue, now.
Everyone's getting along. Okay,
everyone's so happy, and if you have someone that's not happy that you want to put on the air, I'd love to hear because I don't know that guy.
There's a gag order right now. There's a gag order. They don't allow players on my show, so I can't actually do that. But one thing I want to talk about is
that's why I think we really don't want to go there. You called me on the show because I thought we wanted to talk.
Well, we are talking football. We're talking about the development of the team. I'm saying you're not the right guy for the job. I'm just being honest with you.
You don't make any decisions.
I know I don't. That's Steve Leibowitz. That's your best friend.
I mean, you're the excuse me.
Steve Leibowitz, your best friend, makes the decisions. He puts you in, even though you're not the right guy.
Like I said, Ari, if this is about you just want to bash the league, then that's fine. You can do it when I'm off the phone. I'm really trying to talk to you about 20 years of football where it started from nothing, from a bunch of tag football, went to flag football, went to tackle football. There's now national teams, hundreds of thousands of dollars, all kinds of people coming in.
There is.
And no one really cares. It's about names. I'm not going to be here forever. I'm trying to build something. Again, you've never led a group of soldiers in anything. You've never built a business. You've never run a business. You've never
I did run a business. I did run a radio station. I did run a radio station. Yeah.
So I'm saying, we're trying, and if I'm yelling, I apologize. Only because I'm in the car and I don't know if you hear me.
Sure.
So I'm just saying, we're trying to build something.
Right.
And I promise you, the best guy, and it won't be me.
Yeah.
He's going to end up becoming the national team coach after this first tenure, maybe beforehand.
Yeah, it probably should. It should be Barya. What I want to know is,
I'll vote for Barya. Barya wants to be the leading coach.
He should be.
Great guy.
Yoni, I want to know: will Haredim be allowed to play on the team? I know you don't like the Haredim that much. I want to know if they'll be banned from playing on the team.
Why do you think I don't like Haredim?
Because you said they were slime balls and leeches.
But Ari, again, you're going to places. I don't know what you're talking about.
Will you retract that statement? Will you say
Ari,
they're not?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh God, you know what you're talking about.
My father's Haredi.
Okay.
There are Haredim on the team, and we're very happy to have anyone. We have Muslims on the team. We have Christians on the team.
Okay.
We have Jews on the team. But you know what? Again, if you want to talk about football, I'm more than happy to talk about it. But I don't think there's any problem having Haredim.
Sure.
Or
well, that's good.
else.
Well, let me tell you why. Let me tell you why I bring this up, in all seriousness. Because there's a huge divide right now between the secular society of Israel and the Haredi side. They don't really get along. That's an open secret. And it bothers me that if a guy in your position says to me, I think the Haredim are slime balls, I'm bothered by that.
I don't ever remember that conversation.
You don't remember that?
So
Okay.
It's very hard for me to tell you that.
How about this? Let's end like this because we got to wrap up this interview. Would you say on the air that you love Haredim? Can you say you love Haredim?
I love any human being that will be good people and also Haredim. And I even love you, Ari. It's unfortunate you have a lot of hatred, but one day you'll get over it. And God
I don't hate anyone.
Work out for you.
No, I don't hate anyone.
I hope the Lord loves you as much as He loves all of us. Because we're all having a good time moving forward in life.
Right.
And I hope you do too one day.
I didn't hear you say, but I didn't hear you say I love Haredim. You kind of went around. Can you just say?
I love Haredim. Why wouldn't I love Haredim? They're human beings. They're good people.
All right.
They're like us. Good and bad people.
All right. That's what I wanted to hear. You know what? If it took me a year and a half to get you to say that, I'm happy we went through all this, Coach
I
Mishan.
haven't spoken to you in a year and a half. I don't even know who you are, but it's all good, man, and I'm happy you had me on. I'll be more than honored to come on again.
Wait, you don't know who I am, but you remember all the stuff I said?
I know you are because I used to pay your bills, but besides that,
the
I don't
500
think
shekels
really
a month
you
you bought the ad from, and Andy spent 1,000 shekels at Hagov. Let's say it with the laugh.
Man. It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure being on the radio.
All right, I'll tell you, before we go, let's give you a promo for Hagov. Where should people go if they want to go to Hagov?
Oh, I wish the Hagov was around, but we had to sell it. It was unfortunately.
Yeah,
I hear that. It was a good time. We had a good time, and you had a great time there with your friend Andy and my friend Andy, which I just saw in Washington.
Yep.
You guys used to hang out, and we used to give you guys stuff. It was good. It was a good time.
Right. All right. Well, you know what? You exaggerate some stuff in the interview, but at the end of the day, you said I love Haredim. I'm going to take that, and I appreciate that, Yoni Misha, because
no problem.
It's good. It's good. That's
no
what I want to see.
And I'll send Barry your love, man, and let him know what you think. It's all good. I'll be seeing him on Wednesday.
All right, and I won't hear from your lawyer, right? You're going to say that on the air. There's nothing from your lawyer, right?
I don't have a lawyer, Ari. I don't have problems with people. I'm
okay. I mean, you wrote on Facebook. You're going to hear from my lawyer. I just want to make sure I'm not going to get sued.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, we have the Facebook thing, but hey, look, just as long as I'm not sued, that's cool. I don't want to go there. All right, thank you, Coach Mishan.
You don't have anything for me to sue, but it's all good, man. Have a great night. Thanks for having me.
I do have a business you could sue, so I want to make sure that's protected. Yeah.
I don't think so, but I hope you come out. Remember, you're invited. January 15th, Thursday night. You're not wrong.
All right.
Opening night. Yeah, you're invited by me to sit in there and, be honest and be happy about football in Israel instead of being so negative. It's a shame.
Yeah, it's a shame that there's all the corruption in the IFL. So I'll try to be positive.
Now you got to talk to the IFL. I'm just the coach.
I hear that. All right. Well, we appreciate the time. Couple of lies you threw in there, but hey, you know what? Like I said, I got you to say I love Haredim, and that's cool with me.
Whatever you think, my friend. It's all good. Thank you for having me.
All right. You have a good one. Be well.
Good luck.
All right. And don't break your hands fixing those toilets. Okay, that was Coach Yoni Misha, national head football team coach, who now loves Haredim. That's good, because I don't want to see hate from a guy who decides who makes the team and who does not. Now, I understand there's some tribute to me because this is my last show, so can we play that, Sagi? Are we ready for that? Okay, let's play that.
Hi, Ari. This is Itai Shalem. I'd like to thank you on behalf of the entire TLV1 crew. You know, your attendance and devotion to the show has definitely set the bar at the station. And I mean set the bar. If I recall correctly, you hosted a show each and every week, missing only one episode since the show went on the air. And that's no small feat, given that the show began in the last week of August 2013. You really are a living, breathing radio personality, and that, my friend, is true dedication to the craft. But more so, Ari, you brought an energy that was contagious. Your energy blew us away each time you opened that microphone. It was addictive, explosive even, and it definitely electrified the entire station each and every week. I'm sure that wherever you go, Ari, that energy will follow. Your voice, your personality, it helped make TLV1 what it is today. We wish you all the best in your new endeavors. And just as I first stumbled upon you, I'll probably spot you again in person, broadcasting live from the sports field. Best of luck, Ari, from everyone here at TLV1 Radio.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody...
Wow, that was very touching. I didn't know that was going to be said. I knew there was something, but that was very nice. That was Itai Shalem from TLV1 saying some very nice words for me. All right, that's the end of our program. Before we thank the guest, I want to thank all the staff here at TLV1. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that everyone doesn't get to see, obviously, because it's behind the scenes. So I want to thank, first, I want to start actually with Hila Gavron. She's not here at the station now. She's in Nebraska, but she's the person I worked with at the beginning. She got me a lot of the inside stories and inside guests, talking about interviews with Guy Goodis, Rafi Prika, Shlomo Glickstein. I mean, the list goes on and on. Hila was able to set that up, and she would talk with me each and every week. We'd plan out the show, plan out stories we're going to talk about. So I want to thank Hila Gavron. And then, of course, Laura. She's great. She's one of the nicest people you ever meet. And I know she's a big fan of sports. She plays sports. I'm sorry to disappoint her by leaving, but she'll continue on the good fight. And she took over Gila's spot when Gila went to Nebraska. So I worked with Laura for weeks, or every week, I should say, for months to set up the show, make it sound right, make the stories we wanted to talk about. And as I always said, it's not a propaganda show. I come down when it's not right, come down when it's right. Like with the IFL, it's not right, and then the basketball, it is right. Whatever it is, I tell the truth the best I can. Also, a lot of great people, technicians. Sagi's producing tonight. Want to thank him. One of my favorites, Lior Peleg, Adam, Matan Sharon, actually, all the way back a year and a half ago. I want to shout out to him. Tammy Goldberg, she's in Berlin right now. Shout out to her. And there's also Anat, Shoshi. I hope I'm not forgetting. I know I'm forgetting some people. I apologize. I'm a little nervous. Avner, obviously, want to thank him. He's the man that paid my checks for the past year and a half. So got a shout out to Avner for making this all possible. And good luck to everyone here at TLV1. I'm happy to see there's a lot of English stations that are talking about Israel, because English is the language of the world. You know, Hebrew is the language of Israel, but the language of the world is English, at least for right now. Everyone in the world is interested in Israel. It's always in the top of the Google search, Yahoo searches. So I wanted people to know about that. And with that being said, I wanted to thank our guest this evening. We've had a lot of fun stuff tonight. Start off with Radio Mike, talk about where is Gal Mikel going to go. We still don't know, but we do know that the owner of Hapoel Jerusalem met with him personally in New York City. He may come back to Israel. Time will tell on that. William Luyckx, who is a coach with the Paralympics, is part of the whole greater Special Olympics scenery. Talk about some amazing things that these athletes do. It's really, really incredible stuff. Everyone, look him up on Facebook. William Luyckx. Talk to him. He's doing some amazing things. Raphael Gellar, BBC World News correspondent, talking about the latest with soccer here in Israel. Maccabi Haifa gets a new coach. They're in fourth place. They may not be able to catch Maccabi Tel Aviv for the top spot. They'll have an outside chance, and we'll keep an eye on that. Of course, we talk about the scandal as well, so everyone keep an eye on that in the news regarding Avner Koppel of the Sports League and a bunch of politicians. Josh Halickman, the sports rabbi, talking about Maccabi Tel Aviv's loss on Monday in Greece, but they have a game coming up Thursday at home in Nokia. Let's see if they get the win against Belgrade. And, of course, Yoni Misha. He loves the Kratom, and we're going to end on that. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and as always, stay tuned for a lot of great programming, a lot of great stuff. But that's it for tonight. God bless, and good night.